Welcome to From the Heart with Kathy King and myself, Rob Schultz, sponsored by Artists in Training Dance Retreat.
We're releasing weekly, inspiring interviews with our family of AIT mentors, and that's why we're here today.
Our intention is to lean into topics of inspiring moments that are stepping stones toward your dreams and bring more love to the world on our adventures through life. Every week, we'll share inspiring moments from our mentors that will fill your heart and bring inspiration into your life. Hey everybody, I would like to welcome one of our AIT mentors, Kavita Rao. I am so excited to have you with us. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me.
I want to give some of her credits. Most recently, Disney Channel, Disney Junior, Netflix, LA's leading Bollywood choreographer for real. She's amazing. Owner of Karmagraphy Productions. She teaches at Angie Tribeca Dance Convention and the new Heat Convention. And she's choreographed a number of full stage productions of Bollywood numbers. So let's welcome Kavita Rao. Woo!
Awesome. Kavita, let's just jump right into it today.
Sure.
Yes. I really want to know, and I know that our students will want to know this too. What's a favorite memory of a teaching experience that you've had in the past?
Sure. So I think, so just a little background, I've trained in all Western styles as well, but I think the first time that I was able to teach Bollywood in a convention setting, because most of these kids had never experienced it. This was about 10 years ago, I want to say. So it was really still new. People didn't even know what the name meant. And it was a room of, 500 kids. And just looking out across and seeing all these kids who had never experienced it, the joy that it was bringing to them, which is really what this style is about. And then walking out of that class and kids coming up to me and being like, oh my God, I want to be a Bollywood dancer. And Bollywood's my favorite style. And I was like, just kind of seeing the effect that it had. And then that's how it kind of, now I've transitioned to really be the only style that I teach.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Just these kids, you're changing lives. I mean, you're opening these kids' eyes up to this style that they would have never had the chance to experience.
Yeah. And it's about joy. So it's really great to see kids figure out how to express, joy through dance, because sometimes these kids get so in their brain about technique and this and being perfect, and kind of my basis of most of my classes is you're not figuring out how to express joy, you're not doing the style correctly. So let's rewind.
Love that so much. I love that.
That's so beautiful, because for me, like teaching, like you have to have joy. You do it because it brings you joy. And I think so many people, like you're saying, like I think we get in this thing, we're so focused on here, and then they miss that joy, which really cultivates your artistry and makes you who you are. So that's what a beautiful gift that you gave those kids, like a wake up. Bollywood woke everybody up.
Yeah. They were definitely sweating, but yes, I love that.
Oh,
nice.
Exactly. What's some inspiration you can give our younger dancers?
Sorry, give your younger dancers?
Yeah, what's some inspiration?
Yeah, so I think right now, obviously, dance communities, dance studios are having a really hard time figuring out how to deal with the pandemic. And, so much of what dance is about building these communities within the studio and the relationships that you not only get with your teachers, but your other dancers. So I think there's something really important that we can learn during this time is how do we still build our relationships and build in our training in other ways, because I think dance already as adults, we can look back and say, look at all these amazing skills we have because we were trained in a studio, and, we have work ethic and all these other just life skills. So I think transferring these new life skills that these kids are developing in terms of communication and how we do that now in this new setting, how do we still learn? They're getting so much valuable experience that they can take to whatever they do. So I think what's hard is that it's easy to get burnt down and say, okay, this is not something that I'm really into, but the kids that are really diving in and saying, okay, I'm going to just absorb as much as I can and take in this new experience, they're the ones that are going to really excel and figure out what to do in their career and figure out what they're going to be the ones teaching us, to be honest, and creating these new paths that I'm sure will be the next generation.
Yes.
That's so amazing. Just adapting to this new environment. They're ahead of the game. So that's such beautiful advice, Kavita. I love that.
That was so great. Yes. Kavita, why do you love to teach?
So, obviously I got into back to dancing is because I'm super passionate about choreography. My brain always kind of worked in that vein versus just a dancer. But I'm lucky that I found teaching early on because I think it's a thing that keeps me inspired as a choreographer. It keeps me, I think especially right now when we have a tendency to fall back into these cycles of, whether it's depression or just dealing with this, teaching is what has kept me sane. And because when you're teaching, you can't bring that energy to children. There's no possible way. And so I get so much energy and I get revived. It's almost like I feel like I'm a Tesla being plugged in every time I teach, and I come out feeling like, wow, I'm so lucky and I'm so grateful that this is what I get to do, because you see, Rob, like I felt like I got that when I was in your class 15 years ago. You see the immediate impact you can have on somebody in just one class. You can see, like you're saying with your students, their day can change, which then if their day changes, they can affect their parents' day, their friends' day. And it's just this ripple effect. And that's the power that we have as educators, which we have to hold so sacredly and understand that we have that power. So I'm always just so grateful every time I have the opportunity to teach, and it really is what keeps me going.
I love that. Beautiful.
Sorry, I like talking a lot.
Yeah, talk away, girlfriend. Talk away. That's
awesome. You just gave so many nuggets, because that's what we want to get, these nuggets of information to share with people and inspire people. And wow, I'm so grateful. Like it's so beautiful. So thank you for sharing that beautiful answer. What is a favorite memory of a dance gig, performance, or something that you've done in the dance world that was just life-changing, or you just were blown away by that moment, like the feeling of just like pure joy?
Yeah, so I think one that's just a little bit recent is I had the opportunity to choreograph an entire tour, a world tour, and I think being able to, I got to go on the first few cities for that, and they were international, so it was in South Africa and India and all these amazing places, and being able to sit back in the lighting booth or backstage and watch thousands of people see something that we'd worked so hard to create, an entire 90-minute show with this amazing artist, this amazing singer who really just dedicated so much time and energy into being a part of the choreography and dancing and doing all these things, and with her dancers, and being able to just be backstage and like finally see it come to life and see the audience just like jumping, for 90 minutes straight, and just that relationship and being like, wow, I'm a small piece of something that is just really life-changing for thousands of people that turned up on this tour.
Wow, that's amazing. What a great feeling, and what an amazing moment and memory.
That's awesome. That is so awesome to be able to, just to sit back and watch all this work that you've done just come to life.
Yeah. Like you can only see so much in a rehearsal, but then like, as we all know, everything changes when it's live, and all the things that happen live that you have no control over, and how dancers and artists just roll with it and make it their own is really awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I know I always say dancers are the most flexible, adaptable people on this planet. Yes. That is true. And everything we're going through right now is proving that right now.
Yes.
Kavita, what inspires you as an artist? What's an inspiration for you?
Oh gosh, there's a lot.
I know it's a hard one.
But I think mostly my dancers, I would say. I think that's what keeps me going in terms of my business, Karmagraphy, because I feel so responsible for my dancers. Karmagraphy kind of was built on the fact of creating jobs in a niche market for dancers who are still training and living in LA. So the whole idea was taking professional dancers that are maybe in between jobs, in between tours, and giving them some consistent work, whether it's on the weekends and gigs. So they keep me hustling, because I know if I'm not hustling, they're not getting jobs. And so I think, and I see how hard they work in terms of training and how they are in rehearsal and doing all these things. So I feel like I have to work even harder to make sure that I can keep creating these jobs and keep figuring out ways to make sure that these amazing artists are working.
Wow, that's awesome.
You're a master circulator. I love it. It's like, that is so beautiful, because that's what I feel like we're all here to support each other in any way we can do, support our community. And I feel like when you do that for those dancers, you're just spreading more for them to go create something like that and do more. It's just like, you've just created this big, beautiful circulation of support. So thank you for that. And I know many dancers that work with you. So, and
it's all karma, right? Like, it's just a big, it's all a circular thing. Like, your action affects somebody else who affects somebody else. And we kind of have to, as a dance community, we're so responsible, you know, in whatever part we play to keep that going, because we're only as strong as we are when we come together, I think. And I think that's what this has really taught us right now, you know, right?
Yes.
Like, how is the dance community going to survive? Not, you know, beating each other in an audition. It's how are we going to come together?
Yeah.
So.
Let's sit with that. Like, think about that. Really sit with that, because this is what we want to give to these younger dancers that are coming up, that are going to pursue their career. But in that moment of sit with that, because I think we all need to recognize and honor that. And that's so, thank you for saying that, because it's so important. So what another beautiful nugget of information that we can take these younger dancers and us. It's just a great.
We also need to keep reminding ourselves, because I think it's hard, right? I think with social media and all that kind of stuff, it's easy to get into this, compare ourselves, dancers, especially young dancers, to compare themselves to other dancers based on, you know, Instagram numbers or YouTube views. And I think this is something that I talk a lot about in my classes to younger dancers. It's like, what makes you special as a dancer is that you are only you, and there's no other you, right? So if you're not in competition with that other person, you didn't lose out on a job because of you're not that person. Like, you have to stay true to whatever your path as a dancer is in order to find any kind of success, whatever that is. You know, it doesn't have to be money, it doesn't have to be this, but as an artist, you know, if you decide to just start being a copycat or trying to follow somebody else's path, you're going to lose what you're meant to do as an artist. Like, you know, Rob, I know you met me when I was like taking class at the Edge all day and all this, and I knew then that my path wasn't to be a dancer with all those people I was taking class in, because I didn't have that skill set. But I had a different skill set that, like, I think it took me a while to realize that I needed to be like, okay, you know, my past career was working in PR and business, and I took time off of dance, and I can't just come back to try to, you know, be a dancer kicking my leg to my face with a 17-year-old next to me. Like, I was 23, 24 at that point. But I had all these other skill sets of working in PR and in LA for 4 years, and, you know, getting a degree in business. And also at that time, as you know, there was no Indians in the industry.
No, none.
One. Reshma.
Yeah.
One. And so it was interesting, because it was hard for me at that point, being like, well, there's no one that looks like me. I would go to auditions. They wouldn't know, like, they just didn't know where to put me. And so then that was, I think, through that process of having all those failures and auditions, whatever it was, I was like, okay, I really need to figure out what my path is, because it's not, I don't see it. I have to figure out what it is on my own. And I think that's what a lot of these young dancers need to realize, because they're in these bubbles of social media, and it's really hard to be like, how do you stay true to yourself as an artist and figure out what your personal path is?
Wow. Thank you for being vulnerable, because everything that you just, like, everything you shared, but you took everything that you learned and you were like, okay, I'm going to put this on my path. I think it's amazing.
Beautiful.
A lot of people don't ever want to be like, oh, I'm just like, I can do, you know, you're like, okay, this is where I was, and this is, okay, I don't know if this is this feels right for me. You were staying true to who you are. And I think a lot of us, we don't hear that all the time, because like you said, social media, we have to be that. You have to have 1 million views. You have to have 1 million, I don't even like saying the word, I'm gonna say subscribers, because I don't even like to say followers. Because
it's weird.
I feel it's almost like we should be supporters. Like, we're supporting, like, we love you, or all our lovers, or whatever. I don't know, but I think it's so good for the dancers to hear this, because sometimes people don't like want to admit, they're like, oh no. And not knowing that if they just open up, they could be like, oh, what about this path? And I could still use this tool and this tool and this tool, but I'm going to go here and I'm going to be who I am, authentic and real. So thank you for sharing.
And take your own life experiences, right? Like if I hadn't grown up as an Indian American, and my mother was an Indian professional classical dancer, I wouldn't have had the tools to all of a sudden, when Bollywood became a thing, and I saw it being like, I would go to an audition and I was like, this is so inauthentic. But if I didn't have the tools to understand, my personal experience of growing up that way, I wouldn't have been able to get into that field, right? I couldn't just be an imitator. I'd have to come from somewhere for people to start being like, oh, hey, I want to join your company. And I was like, what company? This isn't a company. That's how Karmagraphy started. It wasn't meant to be a company. It was just people started to be like, because they saw something that felt authentic, I think. I mean, that's what I hope.
No,
that's absolutely what happened.
That's what happened, That's so beautiful.
Wow.
So we're going to jump into some really fun questions.
Great.
Like a lot of my close friends, they think I'm such like a nerd, which is so I love being a nerd. But where most people are like, well, what are you doing? How are you? I'll be like, what's your favorite movie? I'm like, what are you reading now? I love finding like stuff that randomness. Like, what did you eat for lunch? I'm so kind of like, when you could eat on an airplane, what did you get? It's just fun. So some fun questions for you. So I call it the
round. Love it.
The Rob round. Here we go.
So favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Oh gosh, I have so many.
I know. It's okay. We love a lot of things, but it's okay to just like one thing that you kind of.
Yeah, just one thing that comes to mind. Good question. Princess Bride, classic.
Oh.
Always.
It's like a go-to, you never go wrong with it.
Favorite TV show?
Favorite TV show would be, I was really into Dr. Foster, the BBC show recently.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
And Killing Eve. Basically like any BB show, I'm here for it. So BBC.
No, for real.
Sweet.
Favorite song and music artist?
Oh, that's a really tough one.
We all have lists. I know it.
Yeah, because it's so dependent on your mood, right? I mean, Beyonce and like the whole Black is King thing just blew my mind.
Amazing.
Not a song, as many songs, but yeah.
Good choice.
Favorite podcast or book?
Oh, I have a lot of this. I'm a part of a book club, so I go through a lot of books. But my current podcast right now is Nice White Parents on New York Times. That's what I'm listening to right now. So I wouldn't say it's my favorite. It's just what I'm listening to. And then I really like my last book that we read in book club, Norwegian Wood by Murakami, was amazing. Highly recommend.
It's on my list.
Well, I'll check it out.
I have lots of long lists of book club recommendations. You guys can text me. I'll send it over.
I literally have bookshelves in my bedroom. Books.
Great. I got you.
We should start an AIT Book of the Month club.
Yes.
Oh my God, I love that. That's a good idea. AIT Book of the Month. One word that inspires you and it like shifts your mood, your perspective. Just one word that comes to mind.
Sparkly? Is that a word?
I wish I had some glitter right now. I'd throw it.
We'll put some special effects in.
Yeah, you give me some sequins and I'm here for it.
Oh my God, I love you. That's awesome. But you know what? I know a lot of people that would say that. I remember I used to do this dance team and they're like, I would be like, no spark. They're like, no, sparkle it up. And they'd get so excited. And I'm like, so it makes sense.
Well, and right now I feel like with masks, the only way to tell if someone's smiling is if they have like a little sparkle in their eye, right? Like,
that's amazing.
We need a little sparkle because we can't see our faces.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
We need sparkles for this. We need to get a
glitter. Add some effects.
Yes, we're gonna add some. We can do that actually.
Great.
Okay. Last question. How can we bring more love into the world right now?
I think the thing that I struggle most with is trying to understand people that lack empathy, because I think empathy and trying to understand other people is the only way we can try to like move past all of that's happening, right? Is trying to be able to step into someone else's shoes and understand their perspective and their viewpoint. And so one of my missions in later life, whenever I have the time, is to work with like empathy training and figure out how to, because it's really instilled at kids ages 4 to 7 is when you learn empathy. And if you don't learn it then, you're pretty much out of luck. So I would love to figure out a way, how do we incorporate that into teaching, our tool is dance, right? How do we incorporate empathy training, especially in that age group? Because I think that's what sets us up for like loving human beings later.
Wow.
Love that.
So beautiful. And I think that's the one reason why Artists in Training, we kind of rebranded, is to bring more inspiration. And it's not share our stories, share our passion, and inspire these kids, not just like with teaching a class, and really making it as authentic and as vulnerable as we show who we really are. And I think when you show who we really are, it inspires other people. And I feel like all of our mentors are super inspiring, super humble, and such beautiful souls. I think that's what we, especially in the dance world, because I feel like it gets a little bit like, instead of like community and support, and we need it more than ever, So thank you for that word, empathy, for real. Like to be in someone else's shoes, to really feel what they're, we don't ever know anyone's story. That's why I tell people, don't ever judge anyone. You have no idea what happened to them 2 minutes earlier, what happened to when they're younger. So, I'm excited for you to do that training and like.
I want to figure out how to start working that in, because obviously, like, right, in a class, there's only so much space that you can, and you have to do warm up combos. Like, how do we then start incorporating, which, what you guys are doing is perfect, and which I'm so excited about, is to figure out how, how the other mentors are incorporating these other ideas besides, like we're saying, dance is not just about a step. There's so much more that we can do with the tools that we have been given and the things that we've learned along the way. So, how do we collectively keep this idea going and resonating? And so the next generation is also figuring out how to do it and teach it.
So beautiful.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Kavita, it was a pleasure and an honor to have this moment with you through Zoom.
I miss seeing you. It's so nice to meet you, Kathy, like face to face or whatever.
Finally, I know.
And Rob, it's so nice to see you.
I love you. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so honored to have you as part of our mentors. You're such a light in the dance world. You truly are. And I know so many people that work with you, and you inspire so many people. So I'm so excited to have you on AIT.
I'm so happy to be here. So you guys have a beautiful day, and I can't wait to see you however we can see each other again.
Yay. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today.
Yes.
Yay.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.